Do you ever think about the future at all?
The future? You mean like flying cars? Hotels on the moon? Tang?
And this is why you're fucked.
No, it's why you're fucked. You're just trying to blueprint a future. And it's a little square. And it's a little sad. It's a little sad. And it's a little square. And it's a little sad.
Okay. I know that people are watching this from a lot of different places, and this is the one time where, while I'm talking about my statements, and of course I will be putting on my face cam in a moment, while I'm talking about this, um, I'm not going to be reading the comments. I don't want to get distracted. I want to just be able to talk to you openly and directly. But I want to make sure, can anyone that is connected to me in other ways, can you tell me if my audio is fine? Or maybe even just for this, I can look at the chat. Or actually, yeah, well, it's good. Okay, so people can hear me. It's just I'm gonna make it a little louder, and make sure that this is fine. Okay, I'm sure that people can just adjust whatever they need in any case. I want to. This isn't my opening statement. I wanted to open up this early, not 11:15, but now, to just talk a little bit about why this is happening at 11:15 at all. I have been trying to figure out the best way to give this whole situation justice. What many people don't know is initially I had sought legal counsel. I'm going to talk a little more about that actually in the beginning, but I want to just let you know that my silence was not anything more than making sure that this was a statement that you can rely on and make judgment upon so you can get the full scope of everything that happened. Why it's happening now, randomly, is because I realized that as time went on, I just had to get microphone up. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I turned it up. Let's see. Let me maybe even move this down a little. 1 second. I'll adjust it. This is also why I wanted to start a little early. Mic is right here. Okay. Is this better or worse? How is this? Just yeah, I'll wait for. This is okay. So this is good. Okay. I realized that I'm gonna continue to keep waiting and trying to find the perfect way to respond to these things, but more things keep coming out. And fortunately, this statement is not about defending me. It's about just telling the truth about everything so you guys can make your own opinion. So I figured that while it might be a little more freeform and less structured than what I wanted, I'm just going to talk about things. And there are going to be things in this that are off the top of my head. I'm going to be responding to things that just happened live. I'm going to be just, right. There are scripted things that I have that I will be reading just because I want to make sure that I get it right. They're going to be freeform things. Please be patient with me as I try to get this all neat and prepared. It's not as organized as I wanted because, again, I started early and I wanted to just get it out. Okay, so I'm gonna begin. I'm gonna just put this down really quick. And let's see how this looks. Okay, well, that's not gonna work. Karina, can you turn on the light? In my room, I have Karina and my friend Samuelson with me. They're just here because I want to make sure that obviously my audio quality is fine and that I'm making sure that this is a stream that is going to be, one that I'm telling everything and I'm making sure that my comments are being heard and stuff like that. They're just, quality support. Okay, let me. I haven't really determined how I'm gonna balance showing you this and getting back to it. I think more than likely I'll just do that very, very just quick like that, and we'll go down the list. I'll probably start crossing stuff off. But I guess now is as good a time as any. Okay. Let's begin. Where is it? Got it. All right. This, what I'm about to say is this is my opening statement. So obviously it starts at the beginning. Let's start. What you are about to hear is something that not a soul knows except myself. There are things that I have kept private as time went on for a multitude of reasons, but it has nothing to do with silencing the victims or enabling attackers. It was that I knew for the longest time that I was lying to myself, that I knew that I was just completely in over my head, that this house would one day explode, but never in any world did I expect or want any of this. Let me be clear. In each home, my name was the main name on the lease, and in some homes, the only name on the lease. I'm sorry. This just had a few sentences. Like I had another version of this that I mean everything is the same. I realized that I had actually my document right here that has the title opening statement. At least I'm a little organized. Let me start just from that. Let me be clear. In each home, my name was the main name on the lease, and in some homes, the only name on the lease. The financial burden followed suit, ending as the sole financial contribution to the home and all of its aspects thereof. The responsibility therein rests upon myself, so no matter how you slice it or how you look at it, I am guilty of harboring people in my home that gravely hurt others, like when at the parties and things that happened here. This wasn't intentional, and as I will explain, I genuinely do not have knowledge of these misdeeds in the final Sky Mansion, but my ignorance to the abuse doesn't shift guilt or fault, and as such, I'm taking ownership of the blame. My intentions with this stream and this video are to give you a full look at each and every home I have lived at to provide validation for the victims, as well as to give you the tools to pass judgment on the situation and the people involved. I will give you the year, the general area, the rent split, the tenants, the room arrangements, recreation arrangements, key guests, key events, and of course, the sexual abuse stories and situations. My aim is not to evade guilt or place blame once more. I will tell you what I remember in full. If you feel that I'm dodging or lying, hold me accountable. Show me contradictory proof if you need to, and name me directly. And on the flip side, if you remember anything that I'm saying that you can co-sign, please do. I have elected to not reach out for proof or support, like no testimonies for anyone directly, because I believe that the missing context can be provided by the person who's been in every single house in question. And frankly, a lot more abuse stories surfaced that caught me just completely off guard. I will try my best to keep my emotions low, but this is 7 years of my life, and the result of what I thought would be a wonderful family of friends, it turned out to be a toxic mess, and I was the poison. I want to make that clear, that I am not, nor have I ever been a victim of this home. I will name myself as the first abuser, and through the course of this stream, I will emphasize and explain why that's true. See, this stream isn't about defending me. This is a platform for the victims to find validation and for you, the viewer, to be armed with information you otherwise wouldn't have so that you can pass judgment on whomever you wish, including myself. This isn't cancel culture. This is a movement where the victims stood up and refused to be a part of some drunken twitlonger a decade later. They demanded justice, and that is why I am making this. This is what cancel culture should be. I took a long time to respond, and that's because I got legal advice. There were many accusations and events that devastated and shocked me, so my knee-jerk reaction was to be careful. But that sentiment was thrown out after. People even now, actually, just to say, I don't have this written, people are telling me, be careful, legal, legal. But I felt like that was so, like, that was just so fucked. I felt like it was an affront to the victims because, like, oh, now I'm careful. Like, now I decide to be careful when I should have been careful back then to protect them. I switched the talk to pursue the assailants, like, I want to figure out if there is actual justice and litigation that I can bring against the people responsible for hurting the people under my house. I've contacted the victim that I could in this case and asked them if they would like to pursue litigation against their abuser. I am not at liberty to tell you their decision, but I am in this case talking about Sandy and Keitaro. Please do not spam her or reach out for an answer. When and if she is ready, she will tell you or she won't. That is her choice. This stream will probably be very long. And in the video version, which I'll try to get out as soon as possible, I will have listed alphabetically every single person that I talk about, when they are spoken about, what the general summary of what I say, and, you know, etc., the context, so you can search through it. I'll also include the years, the homes, the stories from earliest to latest, as well as my list of own personal sins. And when I say stories, I'm sorry. I know that I don't mean, like, fabricated anything. I mean just what, you know, the things that happened. They're true. They're not stories, like, but you see what I'm saying, I hope. Attached, I will also be forthcoming with any and all evidence that I've shown in this video for you to analyze and see, blocking only names of people that I haven't contacted to ensure their safety. I want to pause very quickly. Sam is on my right, and Karina is right here, just kind of behind my screen on my bed. They're here because I don't have the chat open. I felt that it would be distracting, positive and negative, and they're making sure that when I am saying statements that I get it out and it's hard hitting and it is satisfying for you. That is why we're going to have Q&A. We're going to do all of it. We're getting everything out. So if I look right, I am only making sure that what I'm saying is getting through. That is all. In my video, I will be flashing a warning sign on the screen to talk about trigger warnings. During this, because it's impromptu, I will try my best to remember that I'll warn you when things are going to get trigger heavy. Finally, I ask that you watch as much of this as you can before passing judgment on literally anyone. And on my screen, sorry. In this video, you will find information that would have been impossible for you to have prior. As such, if I give anyone a fake name, it's because that person, I want to protect their names, and if they decide to make themselves named, then they will. If they watch this, they will know. If you understand that I'm using a fake name for somebody, please respect them enough to not reach out unless they name themselves. At the end of this, there will be a section of my closing thoughts and statements. I'm saving my emotions and direct opinions for that, but some might slip through the cracks. I would only ask that you watch it when you're done, but it isn't anything new or anything that holds new information, just closing words. So with that, let's begin. Let's start. The first thing, what the Sky House was really like, responding to Melissa and Sade. If anyone, by the way, in the chat that's a mod of mine, or, you know, if you want to screenshot this and just have it so you can just pass it out when people come in, that might be effective. But I did not get a chance to really thoroughly go over all of Melissa's posts, like a lot. So I decided that I would do it live. I decided that I will just open it and we can read it together. And we can, and I can respond to it just outright. Just give me a minute to get there. Okay. Give me a minute to get there. This is me scrolling. This is part of what got it Got it. No, that wasn't it. Sam, do you mind just getting it and...
What are you looking for?
Melissa's Twit Longer.
Alright, I'll find it.
I could have just had it, like... But I just... Okay. This is just... I have to eat this. So much is way better prepared. Thank you, Mr. Pink. He got it. He got it. Just wrote it. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, I got it. Let me. I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but I will put it on the screen just so that because it's relevant. So let me get it for you. There we go. Will this work? Yes. Okay. I don't know if it's gonna scroll, but for now, we can just start with this. This is her Twit Longer talking about the inner workings of the house. And I want to actually, to be honest with you, I want to get straight to the parts that I felt were offensive. Someone just messaged me and said, go wash your hair. I wanted to be as is. I didn't want to look pretty for this. This has all been devastating. This has all been terrible. Many of the victims as well as myself, we don't sleep, we don't eat. So I'm coming to you as I am in the aftermath. I don't feel like I look the way I look, you know? I want to get to the parts of this that are unforgivable. I want to actually begin, if you don't mind, with me threatening to break people's things if I even had one guest come in. I'm gonna get that image on the screen real quick. Okay. I'm gonna read this out. Okay. So this is me saying in a group chat, and I left the group chat at the house after this. I said, I'm not going to name names. I'm going to keep this vague. I saw a guest today. A guest was not warned in any... No one warned me, and the nigga was there. Okay, I didn't say that in the thing. A guest I was not warned about today in any facet of media with no receipts. Between the hours of 6 to 10, I'll be breaking something of value in each of your rooms as I had clearly instructed from the house meeting, or I can get $350 in cash. No PayPal, no quick pay, on my desk before 6 a.m. This is final, and there are no exceptions. Hide your valuable things if you must, but I'll find a way. Best of luck to you all. I will be here waiting. There should not be any questions as my words are direct and clear. No one is exempt, not even people that pay rent. You may physically stop me, but if I feel like I can't beat you in a fight, I'll just call the police and have you escorted out. And I'm sure that you know I'm not kidding. Anyway, 6 a.m., $350, good luck. Let's attack that directly. Not attack it, but validate it. That's true. I did say that. I've said worse. I've said not extremely worse, but worse. I've definitely said worse. This is a statement that stems... I believe that was in 5970. And I want to go over why I said that. So at the time, the rent that was being paid was definitely lopsided. One lie that I have told all of my roommates is about the money that they've been paying. People didn't want to live with me for free all the time. The initial first houses were like, people tried to split rent in a way that they thought was fair, but there's no way that when you have like a 2 or 3 bedroom house and 24 people in it, there's no way that you're going to be able to split the rent correctly. And I knew that I could just stomach most of it, so I would opt to pay for a massive portion. I would basically pay for half of whatever house, and then the rest would be distributed amongst everyone else. It gives them a way to like try to feel like they're, you know, a part of this, and they don't want to be freeloaders. But I also knew that the places that we lived were just expensive. As such, when I would pay these things and all the bills and the food and the entertainment and wherever we went and trips, like, I had two main rules in my home. My two rules were don't wake me up and let me know if someone comes over. These rules were there for very tragic reasons. The main reason was as a victim of abuse, a victim of rape myself, I'm very scared of just being attacked. That's it. I'm 30 years old, I'm obese as hell, and I still worry about someone being here. A part of the reason why I had all these people come with me is that I feel like if everyone is in the house, I don't have to worry about anything because the people are here. And like no one's gonna break in or you know, abuse. And the irony is not lost on me. The irony of that is not lost on me, and it haunts me, but I wanted to just give you context for that. The other reason is not so dramatic. It is just because I don't want to always have to be Sky Williams. I needed downtime, but I rarely ever got it. I just really hate waking up. I don't know if anybody else feels this way, but like sometimes you wake up and like for the first 5 seconds you forget you're alive, and then you wake up and you're just like, fuck, like, god damn it. So I just don't like being woken up, just straight up. And for the guests, that was because there are times where I would sleep in till like 4, but I may wake up at 2 p.m. I wake up, people are loud, I have to just deal with it. It's hot. So I get up, focus, okay. So I get up and I go get the thermostat, which is right outside my door. Now, all of the people that live with me have seen me in boxers at one point in time, and it is not pretty, and obviously, you know. But there were times where I would do that, and I would go out, and like people walking up the stairs, guests of others, and fans of mine, and I'm just there, pepperoni nipples. It's just not a good look. I want to have a certain appearance at the very least, and it was just, to me, I had tried so much to just beg people to give me the respect to tell me so that I know. And I felt that no one was. And my response was trash. My response to not getting my way is violence. But I mean, like, that's just trash and inexcusable and unacceptable and immature and just bad. But I'm just trying to give you, like, I just felt I'm doing these things, I'm paying these things, and I feel like my rules for you to live here for like pretty much next to nothing, so easy. People started coming over and filming things without me knowing. It's not that I'm trying to hide anything, but it's like, you know, I was never able to relax. My home then became another stage, and I just wanted my home back. I'm only, again, giving you reasonings, not an excuse. And obviously, that's it. It's unforgivable, and I'm sorry, obviously. I don't do that like now. It's not me. I don't do that anymore. I don't really have to, but I just wouldn't. I will make it a note though. I've never done it. There's only been one person in the history of the Sky Williams household that I have done things to their things, and that is Nicole, aka Nips, and we have a section on her, so let's just move on. In Melissa's Twit Longer, she talks about the rulings of the house and the hierarchy. She was kind of right about the hierarchy, except I want to elaborate. For me, my biggest thing was I didn't want to see you standing still. I would have countless house meetings, countless group chats of me saying, hey guys, look, it is getting hard for me to do this. This is hard, but you know what would help me? You guys doing a skill. I was fortunate enough to live in a room that was right next to Melissa. So if I ever needed like motivation, I would just walk right to her room. And her blood energy is art. So She's never sleeping. She's always drawing. I would sometimes find her literally slumped over her table. I have sometimes put her in her bed. And I would, whenever I felt unmotivated, I would go in there because we had this rivalry where she'd be like, oh, I got this job at Riot. Like, what are you doing? And I'm like, oh, well, I don't know if you know what PAX is, but I'm actually hosting a thing there. Oh, really? Like, we're just doing that. And that was us. So it was easy to keep my cool and stay motivated. But when I would go downstairs, everybody would be playing their video games, and it would definitely bum me out because I want people to be doing shit. And I didn't care what it was. You're trying to get Diamond in League? Great. You know, who am I to say? I literally got my start only playing League. But that never really happened. And it just kept weighing on my mind. I didn't respond correctly. So moving on more. I definitely was a control freak, but I really did let a lot of things just people had a lot of freedom too. Me mostly, it would be, I would listen to a problem and I would solve it the way that I do. And the way that I solve all of my problems in life has always been extreme. It's all or nothing with me, with everything I do. Probably not good in a setting like that. But for example, people were upset that the kitchen was dirty a lot. So one day I was like, all right, every night at midnight, this kitchen better be clean. If it's not, 3 strikes and everybody pays like $5. I would say that sounds toxic. We had fun with it. There were nights that my emotions got the better of me, but there were not a lot of nights like that. Most of the time it was fun. We came together, we cleaned, and it was like kind of camaraderie in making this work. But you get a sense of it. I did not know how to handle people. I couldn't even raise or control myself. And the biggest social problem with the house of all the houses is I realized very quickly, we are all adults except for the one minor that I've ever lived with, which is Jackie in the first house. But there is no way for me to actually discipline anyone. And I never really did. I threatened it a lot, but I didn't. I couldn't say no to anyone, ever. You want to live here? Sure. You don't have money? That's okay. We have 24 people, you're 25. I couldn't say no. I couldn't turn anyone away. I just couldn't do it. I didn't have it in me to do that. And that was evident. So when it came to punishment, even if I knew who was wrong, I couldn't do it. So I took the coward way out and I would group punish because I figured if everybody was threatened, they would isolate the person and do the work for me. That was very cowardly and bad. But it's the truth. So that's what I did. But I never really carried out those punishments. They were all threats. I really am a giant bitch. Okay. I think that's good on that. I'm not sure, but I'll make sure. Give me a moment. I want to make sure that I get do you think that's okay? I want to make sure that I'm on time with all of this. This is going to be a long thing. So yeah, the Sky House, it was really like group punishments, but I really wasn't that present with things. I never really enacted a lot of my threats at all. There were a lot of times that I angrily left the group chat after saying something. The guest rule was broken, and when I was losing control, I acted like a child. That's all true. She's correct about everything. Everyone is actually. We'll go through everything. So, that's that. I'm going to go through the specifics now. I'm going to be referring back to Melissa's thing. That's why I'm just moving on, because obviously there's houses that she talked about that is relevant. So the first house, the first Sky House ever is Armacost. That's like the big one. That's the one where Jisoo was, Brandon Woody, McCain, all of that. And I'm going to read some stats for you so that you just have it. Okay. So Armacost. Around this time, I was streaming and doing a lot of YouTube, I was active. It was about like 10 plus hours a day normally of just things that I was doing pertaining to my career. This spanned from 2014 to 2015. It was like a 5-bedroom, 2-bath, like 2,500 square feet, but that's only because we turned rooms into bedrooms. There was like 24 people, and the names of those people are McCain, Stevie, Lauren, Melissa, Danny, Jason, Eric, Zero, Mewtwo King, Werner. I'm not going to use his first name because Jackie has told me in the past and recently that she just doesn't like his name, and that is fair. So I'm going to use his last name, Werner, and occasionally his tag Vidjo, but mostly his last name, Werner. Jackie, Brandon, June, Maurice, Joe, Leah, Joe, a different Leah than Donkey's Leah, it's obviously. Melissa, D1, K9, a person named Grizzly Time for a little bit, Lion, or Jonathan, and Kevin. Good God. This house was the first and last time that I have ever lived with a minor in my home. I want to make that clear. There has never been another time in the history of any Sky home that a minor has lived in my home. Okay? That minor was Jackie, or Jisoo as I'll refer to her as. In no other home did a minor live. I'm going to now show you the, I think this is the layout. Let me make sure. I think I have the house layout for you. Yeah, got it. What?
Can't be brought up. Read the message. Essentially. I'm out.
I don't know what to say to that at all. Wow. Sorry. Okay. I brought him up, and people are getting on him for defending me. Wasn't my intention. It's not that he's defending me. He's just. I've been trying to organize this in a way that is good and valid. That is all. That's all that he was here for. And I messed up, and I'm sorry. He's been just a rock for me, man. Like he knows that I'm not Epstein. I'm guilty of a lot of shit, but not some of the bad things that have really just piled me to the ground. I'm sorry, Sam, and I'm not gonna mention him again. But I'll keep going, obviously. This right here is the this is the house. This is the layout. There are things I know that I have probably messed up, but the important like layout here is just what it is. It is right here. Vidjo and Jackie is an important one. 0. And Beard Guy is someone that Vidyo brought in randomly when they moved in all 3 of them together. And we'll go into that. I will be referencing this, but this is just a little idea of what it is, and it's not relevant immediately. So for now, I'm going to put it away, and I'll continue. Okay. It was a staggering amount of people, but of course, it did not begin this way. As time went on, more and more people came over to play, and we would drink and play games, and one way the idea, people would be like, hey, like, can I just like move in? Like, is that cool? Like, oh, sure, move right on in. And I created so much time just actually creating content and streaming. Sometimes I would go from my bed to my computer and then right back to bed. I made time to socialize when I wasn't working. Most of our day-to-day lives is what I had envisioned at first. A never-ending Smash Fest, just sprinkled a bit with League of Legends. I think now we're ready to go into the people of interest and what pretty much I hope, or I think that everyone is here for. Let me just make sure. Yep. Let's waste no time and dive right into the people of interest. Let's get started with, chronologically, let's start with Jisoo. Jisoo is the first one, and honestly, it's going to be the most difficult for me. Honestly, I'll just be real with you. And you'll see why. I have a lot of receipts and a lot of things I want to say. So first, I wrote a statement about her. I wrote it pretty much like, I would say, when people started coming forward with their stories, as soon as I knew that that happened under my roof, I kind of assumed what people would think. So I immediately just began saying, all right, I'm gonna compile everything, and to compile everything, Jisoo was a part of that. So I wrote it around then. Since then, she has made another twit longer, which I will address, but first I want to read my first statement that I had made. We'll start there. Okay, here it is, yes. This is a statement that I wrote before Jisoo's post on me. I'd like to read it and then respond directly to her twit longer. I would like to move along to a situation that I have yet to speak about in any public setting, and that is Jisoo and Werner. This might be the most vile situation in the history of the Sky House. I was going to surround this video around the victims to give them the proper attention and voice they deserve, but this one will be different, because never in my life will I ever meet a human worse than Werner. I am not saying his first name because I know that Jisoo hates hearing it, so I will address him by his last name, which is Werner. I will begin by speaking some truths. First and foremost, we as a collective failed Jisoo. She holds 0% blame for literally anything. She was just a child. A talented as fuck, innocent, naive child. Her life was destroyed by that man, and I wasn't smart or mature enough to save her. That isn't me trying to garner sympathy, and of course I'm going to explain what I mean. But before I continue, I want to set some boundaries. I'm going to speak about my experiences primarily, but I will also be discussing things and events that occurred as I have remembered them, and a few I've witnessed. I feel like many things I say here will connect a lot of dots for those who have been reading along to other stories. Things that no one else could say, because I'm the only one that knows. Right away, I want to talk about why a minor was even in my home to begin with. This was because she was not disclosed as a minor when she had entered the house. Werner had simply expressed that people were coming along to work on his game with him, and she was listed as just a number, like 3 people moving in. With the hustle and bustle of the house every day, them arriving in the house and moving in was extremely easy to overlook. So many people that were even in the home, like no arrival was notable or special. Their room was on your immediate right when you entered the house, so they didn't have to go through anyone's area to get settled in. I want to just, again, now is where I want to just bring up this picture. Again. So, for them to get to their room, this is like obviously the driveway, the garage. All you would have to do is walk right in here and walk to your right, and that's where you would be. That's where like their room was. I only want to show this to you because the vantage point from my computer, which was here, it is literally impossible for me to even see that interaction. My back is like, I'm only trying to give you a scope of how chaotic the house was. You've got people in here with all of their setups. You've got like the kind of living room area here where people would like, you guys are probably not seeing my mouse, huh? But I guess you can probably understand what I'm saying. Where it says Brooks and Stevie, like there were like a bunch of couches and TVs, right? And then here, you can see you just with the blue line, you walk inside, take a right, bedroom, their room. Okay? Again, right, I'm only showing that to be factual, nothing else. Let me get back to the... Got it? Okay. So yes, so it is not like it was disclosed to me like, hey, she's this age. Is that cool? Like, never. It was they're going to be working in my home, these 3 people, and I just said, yes, totally fine. I spent the least amount of time in their room or even that area of the house. I kind of just knew they were in there. Zero would troll her on occasion with something lewd that would send her out of the room and down the hallways from, his patented laugh while she kind of stormed off. I've only seen that in person once, but I am assuming that, like, was the returning troll whenever she would leave the room. I can't tell you how much it happened. Again, not my vantage area. I'm not looking or paying attention, but I know that I have been in there once and I have seen it once. When I walked in there periodically, she was already working, drawing, and learning some 3D program. I noticed that she looked young, but what captivated was how absolutely incredible her art was. My eyes were absolutely glued to her art. It was not in my peripheral to ask her age. It just wasn't. And if I'm speaking honestly, I felt similar to the outrage I've been hearing. Like in my head, I'm aware that she's young, but I'm thinking, well, there's just no fucking way that he just brought some child in my house to work with him. And obviously, I was dead wrong. It didn't take long for the house to discuss it. During downtimes, all of us would crowd around this small living room and just shoot the shit. Jackie comes walking by randomly and says to us, like, hey, and walks back. I don't remember who asked, but somebody directly asked, hey, Jackie, how old are you? And, 16? Like, she was, nervous about saying it. If yikes had a face, we all had it. When she walked back, we heard the door close. There was a myriad of reactions. And as for me, I was blown away in my, that she was that young and that fucking good. Mind you, I had lived with Lauren and Melissa. And no offense to them, but Jackie, goddamn, Jisoo went in. And I even wrote, she's literally the second coming of Christ. Her artwork was insane. But then I knew something wasn't right. I'll admit, this took me a few days only because I didn't visit the room enough to know the sleeping layout. But when I figured it out, that's when I started getting extremely concerned because she and Werner were sleeping on the bottom bunk of that bed together. I really hope that she doesn't mind that I'm using her name, but I want to highlight a key person in this situation by the name of Lauren Hasaga. Lauren and I immediately began speaking about this situation and ways that we can try to get information to ask what the deal with that was. Lauren is, she's amazing. And she and I tried so hard. I'll continue. I don't want to deviate too much yet. With me, I'm very confrontational and direct when I'm trying to be sneaky. Meaning in this case, I would go visit Jackie in her room to see what she was doing. She'd be working on this 3D program, reading guides, and trying to animate faces and bodies for a game they were working on. It wasn't her usual art, so I asked what she was doing. Werner answered and said that she was learning a 3D program because they needed it for the game that they were working on. I asked, why don't they just hire someone that already knows? And he answered again by saying she's a genius and she could figure it out super fast, which Jackie happily agreed. But I didn't like that. I told Lauren what happened and expressed that Werner answered for her and it felt controlling. There were a few more interactions like this that varied in responses. When Jisoo was alone, I asked if she ever thought about making art for her own brand because I think she'd be fucking insane and she would pop the fuck off. That excited her. And she was interested in talking about it more. But this is where the abuse took full form. Because when she expressed this to Werner, it wasn't met with the same enthusiasm. Jackie eventually walked out to me and told me that she can't focus on anything that's not the game right now and she's sorry. I tried again another day and I brought Lauren when we luckily found her alone again. This time, however, while she was excited, again, the next I saw her, she told me to mind my own business and stop trying to trick her into not working on that game. This had happened several times, and I wasn't sure what to do. She's a minor working in our house with a weird relationship who thinks I'm trying to brainwash her into not working on Jesse's game. Fuck! Werner. Werner's game. I'm thinking, that's abusive as fuck. And that's when it clicked. That's abusive. He's abusive. He's abusing her. The only component I didn't even remotely research was their sexual activity, if there even was one. But before I could confront Werner about this, he sent me a message with a request. Werner had sent me a message, and I'm going to show this to you, that said, Jackie needs proof of residency to enroll in school here. She just needs you and her parents to sign a paper that says she's living here for the school year, as well as a document with your name on it as proof of residency. This was the first normal and positive thing that I had gotten from them. I was extremely uneasy about the two of them, but excited for the fact that she's going to school. Whoever has parents that will just lease their daughter out to some old-ass white dude, home life might have been terrible for her. Now that she's here living basically free, I'm now signing a document that enables her to go to school here, or so I thought. I signed the paper because I felt like it was my way of showing her that I support her path, but I wasn't going to let that get rid of my suspicions. So right after, I directly asked Werner if the two of them were sexually active. And I have the response here, but I'm going to show you the picture first because I'm sick of not showing it. Okay. Is it the... I have so many pictures. I got it. Oh, got it. Yes, it is. Okay. So that... Sorry. Give me just a second. All right. Oh, okay. So this is Werner messaging me in 2014. You can see the date. It says, yo, Jackie needs proof of residency to enroll in school here. She just needs you and her parents to sign a paper saying that she's living here for the school year, as well as a document with your name on it as proof of residency. So either a rental agreement or a utility bill. I said, okay, fine. Actually, I had said, why can't this person do it? Which was another adult in my home, but I deleted that message because I didn't want to reveal their names. I'm just being transparent with you. But I said, okay, fine. He said, thanks. I'll send you the paper. Residency letter doc X. I will show that to you in a moment, but I said, okay, before I do this, I need you to be honest with me for real. Like, no judgments, but are you two sexually intimate at all? And he says, LOL, no, is his response. LOL, no. So, yeah, that was his response. That LOL, no. Get this off my fucking screen. Like, hold on. This is, I'm messing up the, thank God, okay. So here's the, I'm embarrassed, by the way, about this. My, one of my friends I showed this to said that this, I'm stupid for being tricked by it, and he's absolutely right. But this is what I was given. Oh, I guess, okay. Let me... I have a, I can't put like a direct, people keep telling me in the chat to just refer to his name as V. Okay. Or okay. Yeah, you're right. That's fair. And and you're right. You're right. I'm sorry. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. I'm sorry. And I will not anymore. I will use just the letter V. I'm going to just make a note of it here really quick for you. Just use V. Just, I don't even make a note. Just remember. Just use V. Here's the picture of the thing. I'm trying to find it. I'm sorry. Here it is. I could probably show you a more official picture, but just in the interest of not, of being punctual, because there's a lot to go over. Second. I'm fucking this up so bad. Give me a moment. This is like, I wanted to get all this nice and prepared and ready for everyone, but I needed to make a statement because there's just too much. So I have to do this on the fly, and I'm willing to, and I'm going to. Just give me a moment to just block out names. Sorry. I'm gonna put up. I'm just for now. I'm just gonna put up the I'm gonna put up the itinerary, just so I can do this and you guys have something to see. If you don't, my bad, guys. Perfect. Okay. Got it. Just cross this out. This is obviously really, really, really fucking like sloppy and not well done at all. Got it. I have it. All right, let's continue. This is what was given to me by V. I obviously blanked out her parents' names, but I gave her name and mine, my address, and the years, and this is what I had. And yes, I know many of you are probably laughing and saying how stupid I am for being fooled by this, but I thought it was real, and I thought it would be as simple as this. Everyone signing a paper, she's gonna go to school. This is what was given to me. So take a moment if you want, screenshot it. I'll have it in the description of my video. Let's just keep going. Oh fuck. Sorry, 1 second. Perfect, never mind, got it. I'm gonna continue. Let me get my Word document back up. Ryan, both Ryans actually, can you please keep a climate like that for me? If there are things that I absolutely like, if there are things that people saying that I didn't know, let me know, and occasionally I'll look over. Thank you for doing those things, and I'm sorry to everybody for not being more careful with that. Okay, here we go. Okay. After that was signed, that was the end of my access to Jackie and V for a bit. Things were a bit more closed off. Their door was closed, they put up curtains, and it was much harder to get in their room to just chat. Jackie was standoffish to me, which she had later said was because that V convinced her that I was literally evil and only there to distract her from the game that we were making. I will be showing this in a little bit. At the time, I felt completely conflicted and stuck. I didn't know what action to take, and oftentimes there didn't seem like there was one to take. I know that where they came from, things were consensual, so even though I was convinced she was being abused, I wasn't smart enough or strong enough to take definitive action, especially because we didn't have proof of their sexual activity yet. Until finally one morning, I don't remember why the change happened, but I do know that D1 was sleeping on the top bunk adjacent to V and Jackie. Now I want to make something clear. During the time where they had made their room more private and accessible, something they did was put a blanket between, like with a wooden staff. One morning he was woken up suddenly because the wooden pole was moving enough for it to shake and poke him a little. I'm going to now show you what he told me when he found out before he told me directly, because this was jarring, and this was everything I needed to take action. He says, sex is such a great alarm. If you ever need to wake up, count on morning sex sounds and see the sound of the sweet sound of condom wrapper slowly opening the sweet or whatever. That's what he was trying to say. Now, this makes D1 look like a creep or a jerk, but no. D1 was livid. This is how D1 typed when he was mad. It was 8:38 a.m. That shit woke him up. And he did not like to be, he was more grumpy old man than me when it came to waking up. And he was pissed. He waited until it was safe, got out of his bed, immediately grabbed me from what I was doing, took me in my room and a few others and told me. And he was pissed. I was pissed. Lauren was pissed. Everybody that knew that was mad. but I didn't get the chance to do much. I don't know if it's because V felt the hot seat or if they had planned on doing this all along, but one day they left the house. They left most of their things and they were just gone. I believe they were going to Ohio, but I don't really remember. Are you good? Oh. I believe that they were going to Ohio, but I don't remember. I stopped writing here because the rest of it I could just say. They had left and they didn't pay. Whatever rent they were paying at the time, I wasn't getting it and no one was responding. They had talked about moving in with MVG, a mansion that Mewtwo King was talking about. They were like floating the idea up in their head. I actually believe they were gone for about 3 months. And no one heard anything, and I called it a betrayal. I was pissed. I was like, what the fuck, man? Like, however, Jackie, even after everything she had said, she knew I was angry, and she was the only one responding to me. I was messaging V, I was messaging Mewtwo King, I was messaging her, and she gave me the most satisfying responses. But I was so angry. I was angry at a lot of things. It was like, you're just gone with this dude, and we just found out shit was happening. And what was worse, I'm gonna show you. We gonna get this. We gonna get this all out. Here. First, this. This was V telling me that they're just gone. At first, yeah, Ohio. At first, they were going to Ohio. They were just going. And then it turned from a trip to them being there for a very long time. I'm trying to tell him here that, like, if you're leaving and you have another place to live, bro, like, I'm not mad at you for that. So just tell me. Because, like, it felt like they were just thinking, like, I would just be upset, which I don't know why that would be relevant. So I'm trying to, like, ask them. Just let me know. Just let me know. Just let me know. Okay, I'm going to get... I couldn't get a lot of my records with Jisoo in a traditional way because it was just like I would keep scrolling and it would load. So I actually had to request a downloaded transcript and I had copied and pasted it here. So I'm going to just show this to you. If you doubt the authenticity, then I apologize. It is not my intention to deceive any of you. You're getting all the truth, and this is just part of it. It just looks sketchy, but... This is her telling me that they might be gone, and she hopes it doesn't ruin things between us. Just, can you read this? I really love that you decided to stay back and ask me what's wrong even when I didn't say anything, which was a typical thing when I went in there to go talk. She wouldn't talk when V was there. Fuck, I'm sorry. but I would love to work with you in the future. So while I have my own choice outside those usually around me, cough, I want to work with you and strive to improve my branding as an artist. And even if you think I'm a weirdo or I'm not actually your friend, I think you were more a friend to me than most in crucial situations. And I had written this in a way that I wasn't gonna cry, and I made a point because I didn't want it to be performative. But then she posted that another twit longer, and it was over. So now you're gonna catch these tears, and we're gonna go over that twit longer. Because no. There are many things that she said in that twit longer that are true that I'm going to validate for you here. And I want to go over all that is true. Give me a moment. Just let me get it. And I'm sorry, everyone. This is not how I wanted this to go at all. I thought this might not like pan out the way I want. This is not how I wanted it to go. Okay. Okay. She talks a lot about me being very manipulative. And only messaging her for information. To be honest with you, I couldn't open it and read it a lot because I have a lot of receipts and such that like kind of go against what her opinion of me is. Okay, yes, I see it now. All I can say is that I think that she is right in a lot of what she's saying. Because ultimately, I was the adult in that situation that was... Is the video, sorry. I was the adult in that situation that was technically in charge. And I failed her by not helping her. And I think that I was spreading my attention too thin. So here's where you're going to catch these tears, and here's where I'm going to show you some things. Something she said got me hard. It destroyed me. And that was questions that she asked in her twit longer. I'm going to get those. She says, why didn't he tell me this when my truth came out? Why didn't he just come forward if he cared so much? Why does he keep claiming to care so much about me but then confuse me like this? And I mean, it's because we failed you. And we didn't get him. And he's gone and he did all that damage and we failed you. We all collectively fucked you. We literally fucked you over so hard and you didn't deserve it. And from the get-go, like, I was trying to make steps because I didn't know what to do. I really did not know how to handle it. I didn't know how to help you. I got proof of everything too late and then you were gone. I'm going to remind, I don't know if she's watching this. I don't know if, just to be honest, I don't even know who's watching. I haven't looked at things, but I'm going to share a story with you that only I know and she knows. There was a day, because she would tell me to mind my own fucking business, I never took offense because I understood that she was being manipulated. I did get like pissy about it, right? Because I'm like, you know, in my head, I'm thinking, okay, well, fine, bitch. Like that's my initial thought. But obviously, I didn't take that and run with it. I had time struggling with that, but I didn't just, you know, take it and run. I'm sorry. Oh my God. Okay. I said someone's name. Who I am talking about is not Shove My Fender in. God damn it. It is not him. Please do not say any. It is not him at all. 0%. He has done probably nothing wrong in his life. He is the most innocent soul that's ever happened. Please do not associate. I have made a lot of mistakes. As you can see by this live stream, honestly, as you can see by this live stream, I'm riddled with errors. And we're going to go through them, and I'm going to have to just own up to everything, even if I fuck up here. Like, okay. So the story was that one day, Jackie comes out of her room, and she comes up to me and just says, hey, I want you to know that I don't only want to work on the game, I want to do more. I want to, like, make my own brand. And when you come and talk to me, I know that I don't respond, but I'm listening. And I want to do it, and I want help. And she asked me. And I said, okay, I will help. So I get a glass of water. She goes to her room. Jesse comes home. Fuck! V comes home. She tells me to leave. I'm going to show you some stuff real quick. I want to get this part done. Nothing else is like this. I promise. Everything else I have to say is organized, and I was working so hard on all of this. I have it. But this one is just, I have to be free form, and I'm going to make so many errors, and I'm sorry. This is, I have to quickly edit this, get a name out. Okay. See, I didn't understand why Jackie said I didn't care about her and acted like when I talked to her it was only for information. Because I have been talking to her almost every other month since. And I have like 40 screenshots of conversations that we have where here's one. And I wanna say something. I'm sorry. I wanna say something. I'm not mad at her. I'm not mad at her at all. I'm not mad at her at all because she's hurt and she deserves to be. And I was the one that was in charge, and I didn't help her. I didn't establish a close enough connection with her because I spread myself too thin. I didn't see her as a true, like, I wasn't, like, really friends with anyone. It was so hard to get to me personally, and I could have done that, and I could have helped her before. And I think that what she is saying is out of pain, and I get it, and that's why I'm not mad at her, and please, no one else should be either. Because everything that she said was valid, and all of her pain makes sense, but I'm here to tell her that it wasn't her fault. It was us, and we failed you. So here is me telling her that I was just telling her because she's sometimes depressed, and I was telling her that, like, we all knew how good you were, and, you know, you got smarter. He was manipulating the shit out of you, And no matter how much we tried, you were hooked. And she says, yeah, I know. Because she's changing her life. She decided that she wasn't going to be a victim no more. She literally went out and then made her own shit. She didn't give a fuck. She's like, this nigga's really not going to control a single damn thing. And that's like... There was a time where every day she was like, just always sad. And then I get this. I talked to her about this. And she says, like, you know, for the first time, I got control of my life. And, like, I'm telling her, like, you're still so fucking young. Like, you can really make all this work for you. She asked me one day why I care so much about her. I said, the same reason I care about Melissa. It's just that, like I told you in the beginning of all this, that in my home, if you're doing something tight, if you're going in, if you're putting in work, I love that shit. And Melissa never will stop her grind. Never. Never, 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 never. And I cared so much about her because she endured all of that shit, broke away from it, and then created her own life for herself, and she kept going. That's so fucking tight. Like, that, you can make a fucking movie out of that. Oh, this is just like she's happy and I'm just like not happy and I'm joking around and I'm like, I'm about to come in here and ruin your mood. Let me be happy. Fuck you. And I'm jealous because of what she's doing. And, you know, that's when she admitted that she's not depressed. That was that other screenshot. So there was a time where she was worried about, like, not being able to do things because she had no money. So I told her that I'm not going to let him do this. And I even admitted here, there are so many things that I did that fucked me up, and everybody, it's coming out. I'm not guilty of no Epstein shit, bro. I've just done so many, I've hurt so many people. I've made a lot of mistakes, but I'm not no fucking monster like that. And we're gonna go over everything, and I've made the steps, but this is me telling her, like, I'm in so deep, and I may never get a chance to actually redeem myself, but she survived, and now she, at the very least, I can help her. Jackie, you know I cared about you. Know I cared about you. You know that I kept trying to get you. That I kept trying to message you, even though you would say I was trying to get something from you. And I knew why you felt the way you did, but I kept trying. I could go on. I could have this whole stream about conversations. We can look at all these pictures. But you know. That I should have helped you and I should have saved you. And that's going to be a running theme of the night. And I didn't. So I tried everything I could because you don't take handouts. I have a picture of that. You don't take handouts. You're someone that just says, I appreciate. Oh, okay, yeah. This is you, like, you were trying to say, you didn't want to live in my house for free or handouts. So you were saying that as an apology for being mean to me at Armorcross, you would follow me because you never followed me on Twitter. And the thing is that I gotta follow back though. I remember this. And here's what gets me. This one gets me. This one gets me a lot. Because this is contradictory to what I thought about you. See, in your tweet longer, you were talking about being a runaway, and that could have been true. I'll never know, right? But here, in this, you say that you miss it, you miss everybody. You know it's not the same bunch. But here you're saying like you're living in your parents' basements and your parents are helping you pay for the whole cost. So I'm thinking like, oh shit. Maybe that was another lie that V perpetuated. Maybe it wasn't that bad. I didn't know. You opened up to me and you talked about that you were struggling. We were talking about art. You were struggling, you were worried and scared every day. How could I not do this? I'll do a few more and we'll just move on, but just know that I have so many of these. Like, oh, this one. She's talking about having so much anxiety that she can't get out of bed, bro. Like, this is a product. This is a product of a house that she lived in, and I was the one that was the leaseholder of. Fucking course, I'm going to try to help you. You posted those pictures of us talking and me talking to you, but the only reason I switched to Twitter, and for context, she posted a bunch of things that I was saying, and then she was like, because I didn't respond and he needed to manipulate me, he went on Twitter. That's not true. The messages weren't delivering at all. They didn't even have the little circle filled in. I thought my internet was dead. And we had just talked about how Zero's gonna get away with lying about you, and you were asking me if I cared about you to make a statement, and I said, I am. I have a statement. I'm going to come out and I'm going to heal you. I'm going to point out the nigga that's responsible for this shit. I told you this, and you said I believe it when I see it, and I took too long, and I'm sorry, but I had to make sure. But it became too much. When you released your statement, it became too much. These are the last ones that I want to share with you. And we'll move on to Brandon and McCain. Actually, sorry, there's two more. This one's important. Hey, both Ryans. Is everything fine? Okay. I'm gonna just take a second. Just take a second. Okay. I'm in control. I got it. Okay. Last two. This one is Jisoo telling me that the biggest reason why she didn't like me like that is because of V. Nowadays, I'm more important. Let me be clear about something. Even after all this, she didn't just go to like, oh, I love you. Like, no, she let me know. Like, she let me know that things weren't just hunky dory. But the last thing is, she asked me why I became caring. And this was my response to her. Well, no, this is what I said. I was saying you call the shots, make sure you're comfortable. Basically, this was a message in where I said that you can live at any of my houses for free. You could do whatever you want at all. You could do anything you want. No pressure, nothing on you at all. And she says, okay, I have a question then. Why me? And this is the last picture. I said, that's easy. I have had a man strip me of everything since that night I was 15 when I was raped. Not a single day have I felt safe. And I look in the mirror and I'm repulsed. And I'm thinking the only way that I can find a meaningful relationship is when I'm forced into it. I gained all my weight back to make me repulsive so that not even a rapist would want me. That destroyed my life. Greg, my old name, that person died that day. I changed my name to Sky because that was all that's left. I believe in you so much, and I always have. I'm going to be one of the most flawed individuals you'll ever meet, and I'm genuinely not a good person. Read it right here, folks. But I will not let you. I won't. No more tears. Wasn't supposed to be that. I lost control, and I apologize. I didn't know how I would react to that. No more tears, no more this. In conclusion, I definitely cared about you. I tried what I could have done, but I didn't save you, I didn't help you. And your pain is on me. And that's why I don't mind if you have all these things to say, if you make these statements, because you were put through hell. And again, for the final time, I failed you, and Jisoo, I am forever going to be sorry, and I will never be able to make up for that. So, that's that. I'm moving on. I have to. I have to keep going. There's more justice to be done. Honestly. Okay. Where is my documents? Is this? Yep. All right. Next up is Jesus Christ. Just to let you know, everyone, these are not nearly as long. Like this is my longest one free. Okay, just letting you know, my longest one. Let's move on. McCain versus Brandon Woody. Here we go. Okay. McCain, aka Mac D, versus Brandon Woody. McCain lived with me for a total of 2 years in 2 different houses. The sexual misconduct that occurred that was in the initial home of Armacost, from the first incident being in September 2014 and the final one on May 2015. At the end of March in 2016, an article was posted in the Smash Reddit written by Smash Caps about the sexual abuse. To my knowledge, that was the first time the public had heard about it. This documented 4 incidences of abuse under my roof, citing that I knew that it happened and kept quiet to protect McCain while attempting to silence Brandon Woody. I wrote a twit longer about this, and where in excruciating detail I dissect these statements as I had found them to be recklessly untrue. Looking back on this situation 7 years later, I stand by my statement, but I look back with kinder and older eyes, and I want to talk about things that I didn't mention in that twit longer. I will mention those things in a bit, but I would ask that you do me a favor, and if you decide to read it, I said some extremely harsh things, and I ask that you read it for the facts only and leave my emotions out of it if you can. While I felt that Brandon's recollection of the events were inaccurate, I didn't deny their existence. However, I've never protected an abuser or caused silence in a victim on purpose. It's clear that I didn't take the best steps with this knowledge, but you deserve to know what those steps were. The first time this happened, and I'll go into further detail in a moment, Brandon had wanted to talk to me, and we discussed this outside. The conclusion by his admission is that maybe he felt that he was being a bit sensitive and declined my offer to take further action to secure his safety in the situation by going to the police and filing a report. We had 2 discussions with myself and McCain, setting boundaries and being very clear that Brandon's point wasn't to out McCain or hurt him, but to set clear physical boundaries so that they can live together without any problem. Brandon attempted to pursue a friendship with McCain, which was frustrating because Brandon had offered to cuddle and watch House of Cards. Now, this doesn't mean that he deserved to be abused in any way, shape, or form, but it was frustrating for me to see because I'm trying to be more present and look for warning signs, but I couldn't recognize it. I confronted him about this directly, and he had explained in text that he feels very comfortable with him now. He understands him a bit better, but he felt as though their current physical interactions were harmless. Truth be told, the level of control and maturity showed by him, Woody, to set boundaries but still engage like he did was admirable. I was extremely impressed, and I still am. However, I found them in bed together, and by his current roommates and onlookers, Brandon was the initiator of this activity, but that doesn't mean he wasn't coerced or pressured. I simply don't know that part of the story. I don't know what they did or how any of that started. Brandon later cited that as an abusive memory, but it wasn't addressed formally at the home. After each and every action that I was told or witnessed, I confronted Brandon and asked him what he wanted to do. I finally noticed that he was dead set on not messing things up here at the house, so I had an idea. I offered him a free flight and $1,500 like a severance package. He declined it. He later had left the house as we settled into our new place. I didn't know what to do with the situation at hand, knowing that he didn't want to ruin anything but the way that he felt. The house without McCain voted, and we felt that we should just wish him well and send him home. McCain had approached us in my room and explained that he's changing himself and he's truly making an effort to change. I think this was an attempt to say that Brandon can be here and be fine, but Brandon was unreceptive and subsequently moved out after, which, by the way, is completely fair and fine. Brandon owed him nothing. So no matter how nice McCain was about it, Brandon responded how he saw fit, and that was that. Brandon had echoed the sentiment about not messing things up in the house, which stifled my actions. But he soon became very frustrated because he didn't understand why he had to leave and McCain got to stay. I didn't understand that then, but I do now, which is why this is years overdue. But I want to take this time to formally apologize to Brandon Woody. I haven't spoken to him in years, and I'm honestly not even sure if he's out there, but I'm assuming he is because this conversation of abuse is loud and he was abused. My apology stems from 2 situations that took me growing up to recognize that I was completely in the wrong for and I didn't handle it correctly. The first apology comes from the first night that any incident occurred. In short, McCain, he and McCain had some mild body contact, just like McCain holding him from behind. Brandon was what's smaller than McCain. Essentially what I assume was an act out. McCain had dry humped Woody over a futon that I was on. Woody gave a nervous oh, well, and I think he played along with an oh, daddy or whatever it is and started laughing. It registered as uncomfortable, a bit late for my tastes. I'm pretty sure I was playing a video game at the time. When the bit was done, I slinked away, noticing that Brandon was feeling rightfully shook. He approached me to talk. I sensed that's what we were going to talk about, talk about what just happened. I took him to the corner of the street we were on, and he calmly expressed to me that he felt uncomfortable with what McCain did. I agreed that it was definitely weird and inappropriate. He was new to California, away from everything he knew, so there wasn't like a viable, accessible plan B for him. I told him the exact same thing that I've told almost every victim in my life, and I say you have to do what you have to do to make yourself feel safe. And if you feel this way, I have no problem or objection going to file a police report with you. He thought about it for a moment and said that maybe it wasn't as bad as he thought. And he expressed that he might have jumped the gun and was dramatic about it. I told him that I felt like he reacted fine. I asked him if he was sure. He said yes. We walk inside. I had to grow up a bit to learn that he lied to me to protect everyone, but especially me, in this messed up of a dream house I created. If he had actually went through with the police report, more than likely we would have all gotten rightfully evicted, and litigation might have been brought forward against me. He mentioned this later on, but our relationship was already too contentious. But now I understand why he was so damaged during other admissions of abuse afterward. To preserve peace, I guess he suffered in silence, whereas back then, I took his response for face value, thinking it was genuine. Because I was ignorant to this, I was not looking out for any problematic behavior, and it's because of this error that I missed things that could have helped him in the situation, and for that I am truly sorry. The second comes from me trying to make sense of his behavior after the fact. One day, he might have felt standoffish towards McCain and adamant that he's an abuser, but the next he would text him to cuddle and watch shows, and even one time crawl into bed with him. In that twit longer, there are text receipts that indicate he made the first move, and I'm not going to bring them up here. You can read them if you would like. I just think it's not about proving what he said in that. No. As a victim of rape myself, in my mind I was thinking if somebody assaulted me, I wouldn't want to watch shows with that person. That was an extremely emotional response, and the fact that I used that to pass judgment simply isn't fair. It's insane to judge someone's trauma and what it does to them. I made you feel like your actions towards your abuser in this case were wrong, but there isn't any right way to go about this. The biggest sin for me here is that, see, I'm not afraid of confrontation at all, 0%. So I stupidly felt, well, how hard is it to say no to him when this pertains to the final time in where I, D1, MacD, and him were playing a board game. MacD was rubbing his shoulders, and D1 and I were whispering and texting at the time how to save him. But eventually, after Woody noticed that we were doing that, he just opted to leave the board game altogether. Your pain is on me completely, Brandon, and while my words may feel empty, I am truly sorry that I have hurt you as much as I have, because I should have made the choice for you. I should have taken the action instead of leaving it up to you, because as a victim, maybe you didn't know any better. You see, others came to me about McCain during the time. The story typically would be tales of a drunk grope which was met with distaste, at which the interaction stopped. I didn't say anything about these because each of the victims, I believe it was 3 straight men, had told me they didn't want to do anything against McCain or that because they didn't feel like it was a big deal. I had thought that it was just because they were straight, like maybe they were embarrassed. And it happened once, and I understood, and I just told them that, okay, I would hold on to it. Because they're looking at the Brandon Woody thing. I'm gonna hold on to this. Possibly they were trying to unburden themselves by telling me, and I was happy to carry it. Clearly that was wrong. And these victims, Brandon and myself at the time, didn't understand that somebody like that needed to be removed from the situation, even if it meant jeopardizing a living situation that was already breaking a lease, or admitting that as a straight guy, another dude groped you. I know firsthand how much masculinity gets in the way of sexual harassment justice. I feel very guilty about not having done anything, and I am really sorry. I really am sorry. It is on me again. Brandon, if you're watching this, I hope you're still learning how to play the ukulele. I hope you enjoyed the crazy ride that Steven Universe was. And if you haven't already, you should be an ASMR artist, because your ASMR is out of control and it's not even fair. It's literally broken. You should be punished for how good your ASMR is. Like, you guys don't have any idea. So that was that. There are there's another impromptu thing I want to say. I actually connected with Smash Caps on Twitter randomly. I didn't know it was Smash Caps at the time. And apparently, she had told me that after my twit longer, she had lost her job and lost her livelihood, which was never my intention. I had just felt that there was so much that she could have had access to from my side because I had receipts and conversations that were snipped, but I could have provided more insight. Are you good? Oh, yeah, you're good. Okay. Well, they had told me that it wasn't their article, it was just that they were providing information. But even if that wasn't the case, it was never my intention to do that. And I am truly sorry, and I don't know if there's anything that I can do to make it right. I don't know how much of a presence I have now. I don't know what I can do to help you, but you didn't deserve that. And so you can reach out to me in any way you can if you can think of something that I can do for you after all this is said and done. I'm going to take 5 as I go through each house. I'm gonna take a minute. I'm gonna take a beat, and I will be back, and I will continue with the next houses along with. I have some like questions that people have asked about this that I have, but I'm just gonna take 5, and I will be back. I know that it was rough. I know that it was very rough. Probably being screamed at to stop streaming because it was that rough, but it will not. It won't be like that again. Everything else I have to say, I'm prepared to say it. I have my receipts ready. I'm present because again, this is just all the truth. The only reason why that got crazy is because I had to deviate from just the objective truth and go into things that I felt I had to say about that. And I'm done with that. So I'll be back. Give me 5 minutes and we will continue. All of the rest of the stories are generally as short as, if not shorter than the McCain one and the Woody one. So I will be back. I'm gonna just put up the picture again. Nope. Oh, nope. This one, right. Okay. I will be back. Just gonna put on this music and mute my mic. Okay. Oh. All right. I'm feeling a lot better. I'm ready for this, honestly. Oh God, like, okay, you know what? Okay. Oh, okay. I'm ready. It will not be it will not be like that again, I promise. I would do the QA. It's just a lot of the questions I had addressed them. I am going to do more of an extensive QA at the end. I want to get through this stuff as fast as I can so that you guys can go about your day and yeah. So, going over 5970. 5970 is a house that the rent was